Okay, so I started the turn not too happy about Italy's retention of Ionian Sea as his last unit, since I thought, if he keeps Naples, then I am for sure going to be able to get Tunis, and I asked him to do that. So I thought, shoot, I'm going up against Austria and this one Italian unit and Russia. I don't know if I can do it. I thought for a while about pulling back Western Mediterranean Sea and North Africa back up into Mid-Atlantic Ocean so that I could form a true stalemate line running through Mid-Atlantic Ocean, Spain to Marseille, and grind down the remaining three Russian centers and maybe cause some kind of frustrated reaction where Russia might try to throw me the game. I don't know. That's what started running through my mind. And I brought up the idea to Austria, since I don't think Austria would play differently whether I did that or not. I just said, hey, I'm just throwing this out there. If I don't think I can win, I will pull back and we'll see what happens. But eventually Italy got back to me and said, no, I just thought I had more options if I kept Ionian Sea. I'm ready to throw the game to you. I think that Austria has lost the game. I think that I like the Russian player, but unfortunately, I think he's going to experience some collateral damage here. Truly, Austria is the one who's lost this game. You've earned the win. I will help you do it. Just tell me what you want me to do. And I said, move to Tyrrhenian Sea, please. He said, no problem. So with that in mind, with that assumption that Italy is telling me the truth, Italy is going to help me, is going to throw me the win, then I know that if Italy moves to Tyrrhenian Sea and I support North Africa to Tunis with Western Mediterranean, that Tunis is either going to bounce in Tyrrhenian Sea and then be destroyed, or it's going to have to move to Ionian Sea or retreat to Ionian Sea. And any of those are a good outcome. It'll slow down the Austrian-Russian advance on Tunis significantly and give me plenty of time to set up a stalemate line and grind down Russia. At least that's what I think. I decided against convoying a second army to Tunis because of that, because I think Italy will spend the spring and autumn turn of this year buying me some time. I don't have to make such a desperate move as bringing that many armies onto Africa. I think I'd rather get set up with Mid-Atlantic Ocean, finish off Russia at Norway. So that's what I decided. My moves are pretty simple from there. I'm going to move Spain to Gascony so that Gascony I'm going to move Spain to Gascony and Portugal to Spain so that either of those units can cover Marseille against the inevitable Austrian unit in Piedmont. I think it's slightly better for my army to be in Gascony than to move to Marseille right now, because I have the option of convoying from Gascony either up into Great Britain with a double convoy or down to North Africa with a single convoy from Mid-Atlantic Ocean. I decided to support North Atlantic to Mid-Atlantic Ocean with English Channel to corral the Russian fleet up and away from my positions, and I'll eventually be able to get rid of that unit or grind it out somehow. I'm not as concerned about the fleet in Irish Sea being able to cut a support order for Mid-Atlantic Ocean right now, because I will be able to get more time to set that up, since I trust the Italian to help me out. I decided to support Sweden to Norway with North Sea. That's a surefire move to work, and backfill with Denmark. That way, no matter what, I'll get a capture in Norway. And I'm moving Kiel to Baltic Sea so that it will be able to support hold Berlin and form a stalemate line on a subsequent turn. And I'll still be able to build new units in Kiel. And I'm going to support hold Berlin with Munich so that Russia can't succeed in an attack. I'm just going to hold with Ruhr and Burgundy since I need them in those positions to support hold Munich later, but for now they're not needed to do anything and I don't want to move them around. It's a straightforward turn. Either Italy is telling the truth, in which case I think I'm very likely to get the solo win, or Italy is duping me, in which case I'm probably not, because I think the only way I could force a solo win or take a chance on forcing a solo win against all three players would be to try to convoy to Tunis this turn, which I'm not going to do. And Italy, you said you would throw me the game in part in return for a shout out. My friend, you are one of the best players that I have played with. You're someone who I really look up to. And it's a shame that we didn't get to work together this game, or that you didn't get to play more from the beginning since you were kind of handed the position. You were a substitute player. But I appreciate that you're doing what you have to do. What can you do? It looks like you're going to be eliminated no matter what, whether you help me or not, so why not help somebody solo win instead of seeing the match in a draw? I understand and respect that, and that is sometimes what I do when I think there's nothing to do. I can't survive, so why not take a little revenge against the player who's costing me the match? And with that, let's see what the moves are. This was a turn about deep thought. At the beginning of the turn, I saw that Italy worked with me. Italy moved as I requested. So I have every reason to think that Italy will see the thing through. Italy will probably continue to try to throw the game to me. I had some more discussion with Italy about that, and I feel pretty confident that that's Italy's intention. I spoke to Russia not at all, and although Austria and I spoke, it wasn't really about the turn and more about the game and what the final outcome might be. So I didn't spend this time speaking with players. I spent the time thinking about the match, and I thought very hard. Reaching endgame in a diplomacy match like this, especially a high-level game where the players are unlikely to make mistakes and the players understand what they're doing, it's very difficult when the players understand what they're doing to actually get a solo win. Since the players can foresee what the moves will be and what they have to do to stop that solo win, they usually will do it. So my motto is that in diplomacy, if somebody solo wins, it's because a player made a mistake or somebody tried to throw the game on purpose. And here, I think if I solo win, a factor will be that Italy did try to throw the game on purpose to me. If Italy doesn't try to throw to me, then I'm not going to win. That's a factor. But even with Italy trying to throw the game on purpose, I still need to play flawlessly and likely get a few guesses against Russia and Austria in order to solo win. So even though on previous turns I was getting really excited about my chances of solo winning and whatnot, that rush lasts only a moment or two, and then the deep thought gets in. It's actually, I sometimes say it's a little bit, I sometimes say that the most stressful moment in a diplomacy match is when you might win, because to come close to winning but fail to do it is pretty disappointing. So I put the work in. I spent about 2 hours playing in the backstabber sandbox, playing out various turns. Okay, if I move this way and Austria and Russia move this way, what will happen? What will I do? What will they do? To go through all kinds of different scenarios to figure out what I should logically do with my moves. And I think the effort was worth it because the moves that first seemed to me to be the obvious moves or the intuitive moves, which would be to support hold Tyrrhenian Sea with Western Mediterranean and line up my fleet in Mid-Atlantic Ocean in North Africa to set up a stalemate line. When I played that out, if Russia played perfectly, I would never be able to win because the game would go in such a way that if I have to form that stalemate line, I have to not have the Russian fleet on Mid-Atlantic Ocean, because if Russia can cut the support in Mid-Atlantic Ocean or get into Mid-Atlantic Ocean, then I don't have the stalemate line that runs through Tunis. That means that I have to spend a lot of effort quickly chasing the Russian fleet out of Irish Sea. And with a mere 3 fleets that I'd be able to commit to the effort, it was actually impossible, or I believe it to be logically impossible, for me to ever surround and destroy the fleet. So I could get into a situation where I might be able to capture Liverpool, but at the cost of the Russian fleet eventually being able to hit Mid-Atlantic Ocean and thus costing me my stalemate line. So I thought about a way to play out the turn differently. What else could I do? And I realized that if I move Western Mediterranean Sea to Gulf of Lion and convoy Spain to Mid-Atlantic Ocean right now, yes, get a second army in Africa. This is a very counterintuitive plan to me, but I realize that it gives me the highest chance of winning, or I think it does, and here's why. This line of play slows down the Austrian-Russian advance onto my stalemate line because they'll eventually have to force my retreat out of Gulf of Lion. This means that I'll have more time to send many units after the Russian fleet in Irish Sea, specifically 4 fleets instead of just 3. That is enough to eventually wall off that fleet and prevent it from poking mid-Atlantic Ocean while also being able to capture Liverpool. This means that I'd be able to build yet another unit and set up the stalemate line in time, or just barely in time. If Austria and Russia play flawlessly, if they make no mistakes and they outguess me in every way, if I've understood the match correctly, if I've analyzed right in the sandbox, the match will come down to what some players call this a 50-50 guess, although it's not really true. Most diplomacy scenarios, their guesses are not equal. There are slight differences in value, but it will be a guess between 2 things, A or B. I call these zigzag guesses. It will come down to a zigzag guess because there will be a turn in which I can support hold Marseille or I can support hold Western Mediterranean Sea, but not both. I feel pretty good about that. If the end result of all my effort is that the game comes down to a simple guess and I have to guess what the other players are going to do and then I win or lose based on that guess, I think that is the final scenario in a well-played game of diplomacy between strong players. Now, not only that, but there's the possibility that Austria and Russia don't understand what I'm doing and they make a misplay somewhere. And if that's true, if they don't perceive how they need to counter me, then my ability to win could be that much easier. It could even be guaranteed. I don't expect it to happen and I'm not counting on it. Also, there's the possibility that I've misanalyzed something. I'm not omniscient, and even though I put in this effort, there could be a flaw. There could be a flaw in my reasoning or some oversight in how I think the game will play out that could ultimately cost me the match. When I did my analysis, the first version that I said didn't work, it took years and years and years of analysis of playing the game out for me to realize that I would eventually not be able to win. So it could be that there's some misperception I have now. Oh, it looks pretty good, but I realize later, oh shoot, there's this thing that I overlooked. So combining that with the possibility of Austria or Russia making a mistake, I'll say that's a wash. And therefore the game may come down to a zigzag guess. So I'll give myself, from this position, a 50% chance of getting the solo win. That's what I estimate my odds at right now. I think I have a 50% chance of winning this game. Strategically, here's something, no, not strategically, I mean tactically. Tactically, here's something important to understand. I have to keep Kiel open to build the fleets that are going to be necessary to chase down the Russian fleet. And once I have built those 2 fleets, if I capture Liverpool and I get yet one more build, the 17th unit, I can build that unit as an army in Kiel, use that army to support hold Munich, and thus free up the army at Burgundy to support hold Marseille. If I time this right, and I'm able to build an army in Kiel on the same turn that I have to form the stalemate line around Tunis, and Burgundy is available to support hold Marseille. If I time that all right, then I should be able to win. If there's some mistake in my timing, or there's something a little off in my guessing in some of the preliminary moves, then that might cost me the game. I don't think I will. That could cost me the game. So let's see what happens. Oh, the dagger! The dagger in my back! As Italy betrays me. I can't say that was completely out of the question. I did proceed assuming that Italy was going to cooperate with me because I thought there wasn't really a way for me to win without Italy's help. But, it came to me as a nasty surprise that Italy decided not to throw me the game and instead cooperate with Austria and Russia. So when I found that out, I saw the board I was just devastated. Absolutely devastated. At the time I'm making this recording, I am only about 1 day after my release of my video. I can't, how to stop thinking about diplomacy. And I had to take my own advice. I had to take my own advice and do some mindfulness exercises, some calm down techniques to stop my mind from racing about, oh, what did I do? Where did I go wrong? Because not only did Italy betray me and not throw me the game as promised, but my army in Tunis was disbanded, which means I'm down a unit. I have the ability to build 2 units, but only have a space to build 1. And the Russian outwitted me by gambling on leaving St. Petersburg open for the possibility of a fleet build. So when I saw all that, I thought, okay, well, there's definitely no way I can solo win here. I don't have Tunis. I actually am set back quite a bit in the west with the loss of that army. And I'm going to be facing down a second Russian fleet. To accomplish this, the Austrian dislodged one of the Russian armies so that Russia would be able to rebuild it. And as a fleet in St. Petersburg. So I thought, all right, it's over. I'm not going to win, at least not on a solo win run. And I did some thinking. What could I do? Is there anything I can do to better my position? Could I somehow turn this around or break up the alliance of players? And I thought, gosh darn it, if after all the infighting and frustration that I heard between the players, their complaints about each other's thinking, and such a long arc of Italy wanting to throw me the game, after all that, I wasn't going to get them to fight each other somehow, or someone to throw me the game. It seems unlikely that the situation's going to change. And I thought about, if the match really drags out, if it really goes on a long time, who knows what could happen. I've seen weirder things happen in diplomacy. Previously I was thinking, if I weren't able to get the solo win, I would try to play for a 2-way draw with Austria and then maybe try again towards the end of that to get a solo win. But with Austria having sacrificed 2 units to power up Russia and appease Italy, with Austria's power lowered that much, possibly because those players asked for it. I'm not sure. That seems a little harder to pull off. That seems a lot harder to make happen. And maybe I could keep the game going for a little bit, since I don't have to vote draw. But I made a decision. I thought, okay, changing my fortunes here I would have to put in a huge amount of effort over many turns, maybe to get a different draw result, like kicking Italy out of the draw, or even the 2-way draw with Austria. Kicking Italy out of the draw seems realistic, but the 2-way draw not so much. And for what? Since this isn't a tournament where the players are ranked, or a ladder where the players get scores based on how big they are or what the draw size is or anything like that, it's just a friendly game. It's an exhibition match. So in this situation, in my opinion, a draw is a draw is a draw. It doesn't matter if it's a 4-way draw or a 2-way draw. The game ends in a draw. And I am the board topper, if that matters to someone. I'm the only player who even remotely attempted a solo win, so I definitely had the best opportunity this match of any player. I played a good game, but to go through that, I thought to myself, man, this match could go on for weeks, only for the result to still almost very, very likely to just be a draw. If this were a tournament, or I don't know, there was something at stake for the type of draw that it was, I might try to play differently. But since we never agreed that the game is based on draw size, scoring, I I don't really see a reason to try to whittle players out of a draw. So I sent my message and said, hey, everybody, if you all are united against me, then I know I cannot win. I'm ready to vote draw. If anybody does not want to vote draw, speak your piece. I did this because I wanted to see if one of the players, particularly Austria, who had talked a lot about never voting for a draw, only playing for victory or death, had talked a lot to me about that during the match, would be the impediment to the game ending in a draw. Because if I said that I was voting draw and I was very credible about this, and Austria beat around the bush or said, I'm not voting draw, then maybe something would happen to continue the game favorably for me. But I anticipated that if I really didn't vote draw, if I faked that I had voted draw but I really didn't, the other players would catch on and the match would just keep grinding down a little bit more without anything being accomplished. So I really did want to vote draw. And sure enough, the other players one by one went in and said, yeah, this has been a great game. We'll vote draw. Italy sent me a message at the end of the turn saying, hey, I really, I thought super hard. I was going to throw to you, but later I thought about it differently and said, you know what? Nah. And I'm not going to throw. And obviously he didn't. So that's that. I will have to analyze the game and figure out what I think I learned. Oh, and the players did vote draw as promised, and the game came to an end.